start? In a significant escalation of conflict in the Middle East, Israel has launched airstrikes on the Houthi-controlled port of Hodeidah in Yemen. This comes in response to a drone attack on Tel Aviv, attributed to the Iran-backed Houthi group. The drone attack resulted in the death of a 50-year-old man and injured 8 others. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant stated that the airstrikes were intended to send a clear message to the Houthis, emphasizing Israel's determination to defend its citizens from any threat. The Israeli military confirmed that the airstrikes targeted military infrastructure and facilities used by the Houthis to launch attacks against Israel. This incident marks the first time Israel has directly responded to Houthi attacks, which have reportedly numbered in the hundreds in recent months. The decision to strike deep within Yemen highlights Israel's growing concern over the Houthis' increasing military capabilities and their willingness to target Israeli territory. The international community has expressed concern over the escalating violence, urging all parties to exercise restraint and avoid further escalation. The United Nations has called for a peaceful resolution to the conflict in Yemen, which has already resulted in a devastating humanitarian crisis. The recent exchange of attacks between Israel and the Houthis underscores the complex geopolitical landscape in the Middle East and the potential for regional conflicts to escalate rapidly. The Israeli airstrikes on Hodeidah port caused widespread destruction, with massive fires engulfing storage facilities and a nearby power plant. Houthi officials reported at least 3 fatalities and over 80 injuries, condemning the attack as brutal Israeli aggression. The port, a crucial entry point for humanitarian aid to war-torn Yemen, suffered significant damage, raising concerns about exacerbating the already dire humanitarian situation in the country. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, released a statement confirming the airstrikes, codenamed Operation Outstretched Arm, stating that they targeted Houthi military facilities used to launch attacks against Israel. The IDF emphasized its ability to operate anywhere necessary to protect Israeli citizens and interests. The statement further claimed that the Houthi group had launched over 200 attacks on Israel, culminating in the recent drone strike on Tel Aviv. The aftermath of the airstrikes saw heightened tensions in the region, with the Houthi Supreme Political Council vowing a proportionate response to the Israeli aggression. The incident has sparked international condemnation, with calls for restraint and de-escalation from world leaders and organizations. The United Nations has expressed grave concern over the attack on civilian infrastructure and its potential impact on the delivery of humanitarian aid to Yemen. The international community has condemned the recent escalation of violence between Israel and the Houthis, urging all parties to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to prevent further bloodshed. The United States, while acknowledging Israel's right to defend itself, has called for a de-escalation of tensions and a return to negotiations. The European Union has echoed these sentiments, emphasizing the need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict in Yemen and urging all parties to respect international law. The recent exchange of attacks highlights the volatile situation in the Middle East and the potential for regional conflicts to spiral out of control. The ongoing conflict in Yemen, now in its 8th year, has resulted in one of the world's worst humanitarian crises, with millions facing starvation and displacement. The recent escalation of violence involving Israel and the Houthis threatens to further destabilize the region and deepen the suffering of the Yemeni people. The international community faces an urgent need to find a peaceful solution to the conflict and address the dire humanitarian situation in Yemen. End